collaboration that actually has at least two partners doing something together actively. It can be something small, something big, something in between. It can be one time and ongoing, but it is going beyond being a supporter, beyond endorsing another organization, sending people their way. This is actively working together for a common goal. Go on. And Amy, because I was working with all the other technology, did you let people know to just ask questions? We'll have something at the end, but to talk in the chat and all that. Excellent, thank you. It just occurred to me. So, okay, who should you collaborate with? This is key here because this is the beginning of whether something's going to be successful or not. It has to be a win-win. It's a two-way street, very much so. You want to collaborate with someone who is going to benefit just as you are going to benefit. The benefits may be different. You both might walk away with a different output that you were hoping for, but both parties are winning. If you start something that is very heavy on one side, the one-side partnership may start strong, but it is not going to last long, and it probably won't be successful in the end. So you really want to carefully consider, who might I collaborate with? Is it something that's going to benefit both organizations? Is it something that's going to benefit the community as a whole? So next slide. All right. So how do you figure out who would be a good collaborative partner? The first thing you want to do is really look at their missions. Do your missions align? Are you going after the same clientele? Are you servicing the same people? Are your programs complementary? Is your program a different step in the journey for the clientele, or would it be a good next step for them? The biggest thing I can say here of collaboration is you don't want to collaborate with everybody, because not everybody is a good fit. Even if you had a great connection with a local group in town, or you're just so impressed with a local organization because they do just such amazing work, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good fit for collaboration. Just like with grants, when you don't go after money just because it's there and you're like, oh, well, maybe we can get a little program on the side that can talk to that, and we can go after that money. It's the same thing with collaborations. If it's not a good fit, it's not a good alignment, just be a supporter of that group, endorse that group, go to their fundraisers, tell people about their work, but it doesn't have to be an active collaborator moving forward. Next, please. All right, so we're going to test technology a little bit more. I don't know if we're having good luck or bad, but what we're going to do is break out into 3 breakout sessions. Oh, don't look, people. We're going to have everybody into 3 sessions look at the agencies that was on the screen a minute ago. Can we go back to that screen?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I was working on breakout rooms.
That's okay. So basically, we're going to have a bunch of organizations that you might find in any community, and we're going to have 3 breakout groups. And the first group is going to pretend to be the Hearing Clinic. The second group is going to be the Scout group. And the third group is going to be the Animal Rescue group. But basically, these are things: a Hearing Clinic, a local library, a Scout group, a financial literacy group, the community theater, an academic tutoring program, a soup kitchen, senior community center, animal rescue shelter, and a youth mentor. Now, I don't have mission statements here for you to look at. I don't have who their clientele matrix is, but you guys are all pretty familiar with such organizations, and you can guess who they're serving, why they're serving, what they're hoping to accomplish. So what I would love everybody to do is, depending on what breakout room you're assigned to, 1 is Hearing Clinic, 2 Scout Group, and 3 Animal Rescue. I want you to take about 5 or so minutes and discuss what groups could be potential collaborators in this community. How might the groups align? What type of benefit would each group come away with? And why might they want to be together working? So Amy, what are we thinking? Are the breakout rooms going to work?
All set.
Excellent. All right, here we go.
I need to remind everybody that you're muted as you come out of breakout room. Hey, everybody, I'm just going to remind you that as you come out of breakout room, you're probably going to be automatically muted.
Okay. Looks like people are still coming in. All right. So I know our group was still talking. I had a little more technical difficulty, of course, but I would love it if someone from each group, let's start with group one and kind of give a little, someone wants to be the spokesman, give a little synopsis of what you guys were thinking on where there might be some collaboration here. Who was in group one with me? Come on, people. You were talking, I heard it.
Were we in group one?
If you saw me and probably
I
only
didn't
me
even
most of
pay
the time,
attention to which group we were in. Yes, but
if
we
you were
did
talking
talk
about the hearing clinic, you are group one.
Yes, we were
Love to-
talking about collaboration with hearing clinics for the Belpre Senior Center, for seniors, and also for the kids in the Boys and Girls Club that might benefit from screenings that they don't get quite as often as they probably should. So it's a good thing for both because we could collaborate with the hearing clinic and they would see more of our clients.
Absolutely, yes, there's definitely, both of those can be a win-win situation. Did we talk about anything else? I was still playing with the computer. Did we miss anything?
And I did.
Dan mentioned the soup kitchen because that would potentially be a group of people who are underserved in the community. And so that might be another place to have clientele that would not normally go to a doctor or have the ability to go to a doctor maybe.
Right, absolutely. So actually, Amy, if you want to click once here. So yeah, there is some potential. You guys said the senior center, and that obviously is a win-win because the senior center has clients who may need that service. The hearing clinic wants to find clients who need that service and who may need some screening, some testing. And absolutely, soup kitchen, those are definitely going to be, and remember we started with saying that these organizations are nonprofits trying to reach out to the community. So that would be a great place to have potential screening. Did anyone think of the local library? Because really, you have a couple different ways you can go with that. That could be a win-win because it could be another screening location that people can come to. But the library is also about sharing resources and sharing academic research materials, knowledge. So really, it can be a two-way type of event that they could put together. They could host together, having some education on why there's hearing loss, how there's hearing loss, the treatment, and then have people screen from the community. So another potential collaboration there. Does anyone see anything else that we missed? Anything else that might be a potential? I mean, we don't have a lot of information here, but there's some potential collaboration. No? All right.
I'll just add one quick one.
Yeah.
With academic tutoring, a lot of times you find that kids who aren't doing well in school, it's not because they don't have the knowledge, it's because they can't hear or see.
Absolutely.
So I can see that as being a good potential also.
Oh yeah, that would definitely be something I definitely miss. So I mean, lots of potential here, and it's just a matter of getting together and see if that is a need to fill. Before we move forward, we're going to have group 2, which was the Scout group. I'd love to hear what you guys were thinking. Who wants to speak up from that group?
Well, I can start. I, of course, thought of the outreach, the marketing side of things with the local library, with the scouting, just as a resource or like a pop-up open house or something, you know, flyers and things like that.
Okay, nice. Anyone else? Any other groups?
Lisa had some stuff. Where's Lisa?
Oh, well, I just, from the service side, it kind of made sense. The animal rescue, Girl Scouts are about service. So you look for people that need service, like the soup kitchen, the animal rescue.
Absolutely, yes. Anything else? You guys see any other potential connections?
The senior center could probably be a connection too.
Yeah. All quiet now. That Amy, can you go forward once, please? Okay, so yeah, you guys mentioned the local library. Lots of different ways you can go there. The local library would love to have more kids get into that building. The Scouts might be doing a badge that needs some research, or maybe they do together a outdoors type of event that's open to everybody, but the Scouts are trying to help lead it. Definitely something there. Animal rescue, I heard, absolutely. That's a organization that usually needs lots of volunteers. Scouts usually are looking for volunteer service, a win-win there. Senior community centers, so companionship is a great one. Connecting the two generations can be beneficial in so many ways. We're definitely looking at a lot of potential there. Soup kitchen's kind of like the animal rescue service. That's usually an organization like the animal rescue that needs volunteers to do their daily, weekly things. And the Scouts are always looking at how they can serve the community better. What about community theater? Why not? Help the kids figure out what kind of talent they have, expand. Maybe they're part of making sets, maybe they're starring, maybe it's a workshop, maybe it's a badge they're going after. There's potential there. And if I don't know if Shalene's here, but I would say she'd say it's never too early to learn about money and how to use it and how not to use it to save. Potential badge, potential reaching out to a younger crowd. So there's a lot of win-wins. Did anyone talk about the Scout group and youth mentoring? Was there any discussion in that group about those two?
No.
Okay. If we can go forward one, that's something that I want to bring to people's attention. That's where we can start to get a little weird in potential collaboration, because they're really probably serving the same target audience, right? They're going to be going after youth, whether it's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, whatever. The youth mentor, and they're probably going to be going after the same target audience. Their clientele is going to be similar. So what you have to look at when you're looking at someone who's so similar is that you don't want to be competing with them. Just like we're all looking at grants together in a single community, we really don't want to be competing with each other if we don't have to. Now, there could potentially be some collaboration there, particularly if the Scout group has scholarships that they offer, because there's usually dues involved. There may be something there, but really what you don't want to be doing is stepping on each other's toes. So something to consider when you are evaluating other organizations and matching up. Make sure that you're not going to be competing for the same resources, clients, whatever it might be. All right, so
Heather, as a
yeah,
Boy Scout, one that's trying to push always, the one thing that it would depend on what type of collaboration was needed and what kind of services, because not every organization that's serving youth right now can afford to run things like camps. The local Boy Scout Council may have a suitable camp that the Boys and Girls Club can send their kids to during that time frame. So there is potential collaboration for the services that are offered between the two organizations without stealing each other's kids into the program.
absolutely. I couldn't have put it better. Absolutely. It's not like we're ruling it out, because there might be some wonderful overlap where one organization can really help lift up the other and really help the community. So yes, it's just something to be careful of. You just want to kind of approach it delicately. So without going forward, we had the third group, which was the animal rescue. What were the thoughts of that group? Oh, can't hear you.
Okay, I'll go. Oh, I don't know if someone was going. I don't know if Terry and Sherry were going. This is Shay. Animal rescue. We talked about, wait, are we doing breakout 3 now or no?
We're doing breakout 3, yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, good. We basically, we talked about the Scout group and youth mentoring and the senior community center as the top 3 groups that would be potential collaborators for animal rescue. You know, specifically, I mean, Terry can speak to the senior community center since she brought that up. And youth mentoring was brought up by Sherry. I brought up the scout group as, you know, the potential because of a project that the kids can have. And also just teaching them about this is something that we can do to help animals, and it's teaching responsibility, things like that. And I guess Sherry can, if she wants to, piggyback on what I'm saying with youth mentoring.
I kind of had the same thoughts about the youth mentoring, teaching them responsibility, because
I think Sherry's speaker.
am I still muted?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay, great. That was kind of on the same line where we thought about the responsibility it would provide in youth mentoring, leadership, training for the youth, and so on.
Excellent. Yes. You guys are all definitely seeing where the collaboration can go. Can we go one forward, Amy, please? So yeah, so at first you might think animals, people, maybe they're not going to hit, but they actually hit more than we thought of on that first group. So senior community center, yes, I heard that. Companionship, therapy animals, find the animals new homes, a win-win there. Scout group, I just heard that, absolutely. What about the library? I mean, educational element there, and if they brought some cute puppies, they probably could get rid of some, find some new homes for them if there was an outdoor event at the library, possible there. Youth mentoring, same as the scout group. So there's a lot of win-wins. Now, do any 2 groups up on that screen sound like it would probably be really hard to stretch to get a connection? Does anyone see 2 groups that just probably, no matter how you work it, you're not going to find much of a collaboration potential there? Anybody see 2 that might be hard?
I think the soup kitchen would be hard.
The soup kitchen with
Sure.
any other group, or I'm saying are there 2 groups there that probably just will never connect?
Oh, maybe the hearing clinic and the soup kitchen. If Sherry mentioned the soup kitchen. And
Well, I think we talked about the Heron Clinic, the soup kitchen, a potential screening spot.
Oh, right.
Depending if they need more, if they're trying to, you know, really get out into the community to those in need of hearing aids.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
I would say probably the hearing clinic and animal rescue, because they serve different clientele, and if you aren't going to screen the animals. So I don't see that being a very easy connection to make.
Right. Yeah, Amy, if you go forward, yes, that one, although I can be very creative in how we might be able to connect, they're really probably, we're not screening those puppies. So yeah, probably not there. All right, well, I'm hoping, so really what the takeaways from today, I want you guys to have some new thoughts, some new ideas, and some tools so that you can apply this to your organizations, your community, who you're working with, and who you might potentially be working with. So we just did a group project. If Amy goes forward, we're gonna do a little individual exercise. So I'd love if you guys take about 3-4 minutes and just on a piece of paper, hopefully you got something nearby, jot down 3 possible organizations in your area that you are not collaborating with right now, who you might be able to collaborate in the future if things fall into place. I want you to keep in mind the missions, their clientele. Do you have complementary programs, overlapping goals? Could what they do be another step in the journey for your clients, or vice versa? Maybe it's not service direct, maybe it's internal capacity, research, something along that lines. Take about 3-4 minutes and jot something down that we can then come back to later. All right, it's been about 3 minutes. Is that enough time for people, or do you want another minute? People have some ideas? All right. All right, excellent. Well, let's move on. Amy, if you want to go forward, please. All right, so the next thing we need to start thinking about is when do we collaborate? When's the right time? And really it is, timing is everything. It might seem obvious, but the timing must work for both parties. And I say that, and you know, there was a group in town that just aligned so well with GOPAC's mission, clients, everything, that years ago I reached out, and it was just like, hey, let's get together. Let's see if we can put some stuff together to get further for both of us. And you know, it wasn't that they weren't receptive, but it never went anywhere. And I followed up a couple times. 3-4 years later, bam, we are finally collaborating, and it is a fantastic collaboration. We are now doing projects left and right together. It's wonderful. And hindsight, it wasn't the right timing for them. Internally, there was too many things going on. It just didn't work. So don't be upset or discouraged if you reach out and you think it's just such a great match. The timing has to be right, and it might just be something that you have to revisit in the future when things settle down. And think also about, okay, if you want to collaborate and you already have an idea of how you want to collaborate, make sure the timing's right for the project or the program. It might be a seasonal program you're offering, or one time or ongoing. These are things you need to consider when you're getting ready to try to put things in motion. And I can't stress this enough. Again, it seems very obvious, but make sure you can deliver. If you feel like this is a great collaboration, you want to go forward, make sure your program, your resources are in place that you can truly follow through. So simple things, but you know, when we're all doing 1,000,001 things, juggling every ball, it's hard to, or it's easy to forget a couple of the key factors there. So if you want to move forward. All right, so once we figure out who, we figure out when, how do we get started? Now, you just can't sit around waiting and hoping. You have to be part of the bigger picture. Be part of the community. And yes, I know nonprofits are usually there to serve the community. You're in the community, but really step outside of what you're doing, what your organization's bubble is. Learn about other organizations in town, what they're doing, what their work is, their programs, their reach. Actually actively go out and find out what's happening around you. And then I really highly suggest to seek out existing alliances and coalitions. We've got some wonderful ones here in the Mid-Ohio Valley. There's obviously Nonprofit Leads is constantly putting people together and trying to connect things there. Washington County Health Department has what's called the Creating Healthy Communities Coalition. That is actually a statewide coalition level that happens at many counties throughout Ohio. That's one that brings together, you might think at just first health related, but it brings together so many groups that you wouldn't think of. So start there, see what's out there, get involved in those things, and it'll really help you see where there might be collaborative efforts that maybe you didn't even think of in the past. So definitely. And I can't stress enough about letting others in the community know that you like to collaborate and you're willing. We have gotten to the point with GOPACs that I've got some collaborative partners that'll just be like, oh, Heather, we knew you want to do it. We've already put your logo on the flyer. So if they know you're willing and able, they're going to be much more in tune with reaching out to you. And that's definitely something you want once you get to the point where collaboration is part of what you're doing on a regular basis. So can we go forward, please? All right. So we thought of the who, the how, the when, or here's the how. what is collaboration going to look like? So this is where you really get to start thinking outside the box, particularly if you're thinking missions align and clientele's align, but how can we put it together? So think it could be a new venture, a new program. It could be an extension of an existing program. What a great way to expand your capacity by pulling resources together, using the expertise of another group, and then you share an expertise back in your strengths and weaknesses. It really can increase your capacity, direct service and not. And as I was saying, it doesn't even have to be direct service. Offering certificate, a lot of times there's training out there that's really expensive, certifications, pulling resources together for internal studies, research, collaboration in that area is a great way to go. I think it was, someone in the room might remember 2 or 3 years ago, there was a yoga group out of West Virginia that had a national certification for people to learn how to teach children's yoga. And by doing it together collaboratively, they had reduced the fee by a significant, I mean, it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars less. So there's the non-direct collaboration to consider as well. Of course, it could be an event, reciprocal referrals. That's something that GoPax does a lot of, and it's kind of a neat way to collaborate because it's not time heavy. It doesn't really strain your resources, but it can really affect your reach. What I'm talking about is referring your clients to another service. Now, I'm not talking about, hey, you're sitting down with a client, you've learned of a new need, and you're like, you know, there's this place down the street at the corner of 3rd and 4th, you should check them out. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about picking up the phone, calling the contact while you have your client there saying, hey, I have so-and-so here who would love to learn more about what you guys do, or it might be a great fit for your service. Can I set up an appointment for you? This is a great way to help the other client, the other organization reach more people and to service your clients as well. This is something we do a lot. It is something that you can just set up appointments with. I will actually have different partners call me, and if my schedule allows, I will actually stop and go to their place to do orientations and help out. So it really can be effective, and it really is not time conducive. It's just kind of a one-time here and there. So something to consider. Can we please go forward? All right, so now thinking about how you might collaborate, go back to that list of 3 people, 3 different organizations, and come up with some ways, at least one way with each that you might be able to consider collaboration. And yes, you haven't spoken to them. They may not be on board yet, but think of something that might be a win-win for both of you guys. Could you do a project, research, capacity building? What might be a good way to go with that collaborative partner? We're gonna give 5 minutes, I think we said, Amy. So I'll look at the clock here. Take some time and see what you might be able to come up with.
try to do something.
Thank you. Okay, the technical difficulties continue. Can you guys hear me now? All right, thank you.
We can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. So hopefully everyone had some things that they might be able to follow up with later on. Again, the goal is to have you have some takeaways that might work for you guys. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, now I'm going to tell you right now, yes, some of these things are no-brainers, and I apologize if it seems very logical, but I know how busy everybody is, and when we're juggling a million balls, it is really easy to just kind of forget about some of these things. Everything you do, no matter how you collaborate, what form, make sure you're building trust and relationships. It sounds simple, it sounds obvious, but here's where I'm talking about the application. Maybe you've met with a group, you figured out how you're going to collaborate, and now both group has walked away, and A is going to do all of this and B is going to do all that, and then you're going to come back together and meet. And maybe that's a month of time. Take the time and just shoot an email, send a text, let them know, hey, we're still working on that, just want to touch base, here's what's happening, here's where we're working. Don't drop off the face of the planet until it's time to meet again. Bring up them, let them know, yeah, you're doing your part. Build that trust, because that trust is what's going to take you forward if the collaboration's ready to go and build upon that collaboration. So it's obvious, but it's easy as we're all juggling our very busy schedules to just not look at something until it's due. So take that time, and depending on how big, you know, the collaboration is or the organization is, you might need things like MOUs, memos of understanding, sometimes memos of agreement, MOAs. Maybe someone needs to be a fiscal agent. Make sure you have all those things in place. Make sure there's a clear understanding of what all parties are doing. What are the responsibilities? It's great to sit down over coffee and come up with some ideas, but when it's time to actually execute, make sure everyone is clear as to what their responsibilities are and that they're following through and that they're communicating. Communication is just key to anything. I'm sure we all know that.
Hey, Heather, can I jump in here with an amen and a question?
Absolutely.
So I want to underline what she said about communication being key, and you know, just stress that you really can't over communicate in situations like this. And so many times I've seen people think that putting something in writing is like acting like a form of antitrust, or is something to be avoided for some reason. Like I don't know. I've seen people shy away from it. Like, well, I didn't think we needed to put it in writing. Well, what made you not want to put it in writing? And so, err on the side of putting everything in writing. Just, say, let's sit down and hash this out, and there are Google Docs to pass back and forth, and just kind of making sure that everybody is on the same page. Because when I say chair, there are 12 people on this call, and 12 chairs just came up in your different minds. And so everybody got to figure out what they mean by what they're saying. And the other thing is for MOUs, MOAs, fiscal agents, that kind of thing. If you don't know what that is, or you don't have an example of one, or you don't know how to get it put together or get in touch with one, that's what Nonprofits Lead is for. And so we will help you find examples, get connected, whatever you need in that way. So there you go. There's my plug.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I was actually going to say Nonprofit Lead is the one who's going to hook you up on all that stuff. And really the whole people shying away, I know it can be once you become, and actually I signed an MOA yesterday, and it was so refreshing because it was not just legal mumbo jumbo. It was just a clear description of what your responsibilities are, what my responsibilities are, and who's delivering what. And it was clear, it was concise, it wasn't legal jargon. It doesn't have to be legal jargon, which I know is what usually shies. People are like, oh, I don't want to do that. That looks like I'm getting into something over my head. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't. All right, so yeah, we got a little hint of the next slide. So Amy, you're going to be sending the slides off to everybody, correct? Later on? Okay, so what she will also send when she sends the slide is actually an 8.5 by 11 PDF of what you're seeing on the right, this collaboration prep template. So you'll have that. You don't have to worry about extracting it out of this slide. You can just print it. But this slide is great because we're giving you a template to just kind of collect your thoughts. Think of all those things, check off. Okay, here's someone I'm thinking about, put them in that top column. You can see there's 3 columns, and hey, is this a benefit for them? Yes. Is it for me? Yes. It goes through all the things you want to consider. It's just a way to collect your thoughts and put it down so you can have a visual to examine and move forward for. If it's something you're going to move forward for, maybe you're like, hey, I really wanted to collaborate with them, but I have like 2 boxes checked. Maybe I shouldn't be pursuing this. So it's just a great visual to help you guys move forward when it comes to collaboration. So that will come as a PDF as well as on the slide. And I think we're pretty much coming to the end. I know we're looking at about an hour, even with all of our hiccups, but I just want to summarize saying collaboration really can be a game changer. It can take your program, your organization to the next level and beyond, but only if it's two-sided. It's a win-win. And if you have a win-win, both groups are benefiting, then the organizations are going to benefit the community. It's really going to be a way to strengthen everyone involved. So really, I think we're just opening it up next for questions. Anyone? Do I need to clarify anything? I feel like I was really distracted with the technology. I apologize.
Heather, this is Jim Wilson. I was on one of the Nonprofit Leads discussions a couple of months ago, and what was pretty clear during that discussion was the issue that a number of the organizations had with not knowing how their funding was going to come up and what their staffing might look like in the future. So one of the items that you covered there was internal capabilities. And one of the things that when I do consulting, I've talked to people about is the understanding that they can collaborate with another organization for internal administrivia type stuff. I know it's difficult for some people to think about it, but some organizations may not have the ability to fund a bookkeeper full-time now, where people would like full-time work. So organizations can share those administrative actions to make sure that you're both covered and the person that's going to cover them for you is happy with the kind of work they're going to have. So sometimes doing that is a type of collaboration. It may not be program centric, but it certainly is something that will help organizations keep their capabilities going for a known type of financial structure.
Thank you so much, Jim. That is, yes, absolutely. You described that perfectly. And we actually are working with a partner right now doing very much that type of collaboration along with others. So yes, it can be internal. It does not have to be service direct. Thank you for describing that out so well. Anything in the chats or anything we need to look at? I can't see that. Okay.
Not right now, but while everybody formulates their next question, I want to make another plug or offer from Nonprofits Lead. And that is one of the things that we are, or we used to be pre-COVID, and we will be again, is a collaborator and a convener. And, you know, if any of you say, I want to get in touch with this organization, but I don't really know anybody, and I don't want to cold call and just say, hey, you know, who do I talk to? Yeah, I'd be willing to do that, you know, and as soon as we're allowed to be, you know, in the same room, which I guess we can be 6 feet away from each other in my conference room, I'm more than happy to, you know, hold those kinds of meetings, and even in the, you know, in the initial stages or even in later stages, I'm perfectly happy to do that. It's part of my mission. And so just reach out to me if there's somebody that you would like a introduction to or meeting to be facilitated.
I can attest to that, in just in case any of you haven't benefited from contacting Amy. And so if you haven't, I would highly encourage you to do that. She has gotten me into contact, and I've established relationships with different professionals or organizations, and she's really in tune to knowing, she knew what my needs were and got me in contact immediately almost. So Amy, thank you for that. You do a fine job, really.
Well, Amy, if no one else has any questions, that's all I've got for today.
Okay.
Well, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to chime in really quick that I did sit here in my extra minutes and write down a whole list of brainstorming ideas of different ways that I can work with my seniors and some of the Boys and Girls Clubs or the Scouts or the animal rescues, and a lot of intergenerational things that we could do as soon as we're able to all be together again. I mean, even if the young people and the seniors can compare their quarantine stories or the stories about the things that they've all experienced. It's always, I just have a list of a bunch of different things that, and also some of my seniors have had technological problems, which is another thing that we can all, you know, that could collaborate and get some things working together to have some of my seniors have technical training. I mean, I've got a whole list of things that I could just think of right off the bat that we could collaborate with.
That's excellent, Bonnie. And actually, I just want to, let me just add to that. Yes, we're in a pandemic. It is making everything so difficult. But you know, this is a great time to collaborate because now you have more brains to think outside the box. For example, working with our families to build up their resources is very difficult at the moment for us because we can't have classes, we can't have workshops, we can't be in person. However, we have put together a few new just small collaborative programs with some of our partners like the O'Neill Center. We're doing a pen pal program right now with our kids and the seniors who are a little bit more lonely. So there's an outside the box, and you know what? They came up with that and said, hey, you think your kiddos would be willing and interested in this? With OSU Extension, one of our most popular events is a workshop we do with adults and children together, and we couldn't offer that this year. So what we're doing instead is putting together our container gardens and actually just giving them to our families with instructions. Okay, here's how you can take care of this. Yes, you didn't get to plan it yourself like we normally do, but you can still tend this garden all year long. So I know the pandemic's making things incredibly hard, but this might be a good time to brainstorm with more than one person so that you can maybe come up with some virtual ways to deliver some of your services now.
Exactly. We have actually a cooking club,
Hmm.
a virtual online cooking club. It's in the Marietta Times today, the O'Neill Center. And that was our on-site cooking club that we had to come up with a different way of presenting it to the seniors, which again is one of those things where there's some people that don't have access to
Right.
internet and things like that we're trying to, we're talking about having virtual screenings for 5 people or something, or whoever can't, but we're trying to think of different ways to make things happen.
Right. Right. And that's where the more brains, the better, in my opinion. So.
Any other comments or questions? Heather, thank you for those tools. I want to really encourage everybody. You're gonna, like she said, you're going to get the slides. So you're going to have all those pertinent questions to think about, some points to think about, and you're going to get, she was generous enough to make that form into a PDF so that you can just print that out, sit down with it, start thinking about the different agencies and organizations that are in town. And I want to encourage you as well. I had to, when I started thinking about who I was going to collaborate with, because she said somebody you're not already collaborating with, and I'm collaborating with most nonprofits. So I had to go outside the box a little bit, and I thought of like trade unions and city government and civic organizations. And so I want to encourage you all to think outside the box as well, into the things that are not necessarily other nonprofits, but in other sectors, because you have something to offer. You have something to bring to the table, and so do they. And so it can also be a win-win-win. You will receive from me an email, and it will have a link to this recording. It will have the PowerPoint slides and the PDF that we've mentioned. It'll also have an evaluation of the program. And you're welcome in the open-ended question at the end to mention whatever you'd like to about Zoom and tech in general. But I'd also like an evaluation of the program, and I especially like to hear about what you would like to have next as far as what you need as far as future programming. So without any other comments or questions, then I'll just tell everybody goodbye and thank you. I hope that you used a little bit of extra time that we've given you today to think about collaboration and maybe use those forms.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Heather.